Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes show on the 9th, isn't it? The 9th of May, 2020. Here we are, 8 o'clock here in the UK. I'm Richard Vobes, and it is going to change the weather. The weather is going to change, apparently. We've had a beautiful, lovely, hot, sunny day here today. It's been absolutely fantastic. And, of course, I've been out in my Speedos on the beach, sunning myself up, pouring on the sun cream onto my luscious sexual body. Much to the annoyance of everybody else who've been walking past thinking, hey, wait a minute, you're supposed to be in lockdown, aren't you? I said, yes, I am locked down. I've been tied to a buoy. I can't escape. And so that's the God-honest truth if I had been speaking truthfully, but of course that's all just made up, just for your entertainment benefits. Hello to everybody out there in the Vobosphere. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for passing by. We have the lovely Mike Stevens. Hello, one and all, he says. The lovely Judith, of course, and the lovely Julia, absolutely. Days of Yours, Audrey Forbes-Hamilton, Ed Loud. We have Mr. Connell. We have Dark Monty McLeod. Wait a minute, where did Dark Monty McLeod come into it? Mark Donny McLeod even, I believe. Andy Frierson, Ron Langley, Glastian, I can't read tonight. Glastian Gabriel, and Come Walk With Me. Turbo Stream is there. Barry Stevens, Mark Donny McLeod is here for a second time, just to make sure I got it right this time, and I did. Tim Williams, hello to you. Barbara Charles is also out there. I've noticed her hanging about early on in the show. And Steve Garnett as well. Jeff Kellison, hello. Greetings from Williams in Iowa. Lower, wherever Lower is. And Roy Ballinger was in there nice and earlier too, which is marvellous, and I'm sure other people are popping in as we speak. Mr. Croser and River Reeds Roblox, how are you? Now, River Reeds, did we play, I want to know, did we play your video? Did we miss that out? Because you made a second, I can't remember now whether we played it in the other day, or I think we did, didn't we? I can't remember now. I'm getting confused on all these. I'm slightly worried that I've missed somebody. Now, I know yesterday we didn't get round to, who was it? Barry, I think. Barry and Faden. I think we didn't get round to playing your video in. But I've got a horrible sneaky feeling that there was somebody else. Hello, Cave. Nice to see you. We played it the other day. Oh, thank God for that. Thank you very much. Glastonbury Gabriel. Yes, you did. That's marvellous. It's just because there's nobody here actually logging what we do, other than YouTube, of course. Sometimes it's very confusing because I watch the videos before they go out just to make sure that I know what they're about. And when they go out through the software here, unfortunately, I don't hear them. So I sort of know what I've had come through, but I actually don't always know what I've played. And you know what a crappy host I am. I sometimes forget and sometimes get confused. But anyway, there we are. Robert Croser's video as well. Oh, yes, that's right. Robert Croser. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, Robert Croser. Has he sent a second one in? Wait a minute. I got a Robert Croser. Oh, there's two of them, isn't there? Ah, yes. I don't know which one now. I am confused because... oh, yes, that's right. He sent it in, if I remember rightly, right in the middle of the show. So that should be the right one. Whew. Well, anyway, there we are. There's organisation for you on a Saturday night. Let's break open the tinnies. I've got my Bald Explorer mug full of nice hot coffee to try and concentrate the mind. I don't know that it's working. Oh, I sent 3, Ricky, he says. 3. Okay, I've got one of them. Let's go into the video box and see what we have got, because I have shoved some in there. I may have to go and have another little route around a little bit later. Oh, nothing happened. I don't know why. Anyway, what was... Oh, yes, because that was supposed to go on. And there it is. And we're going to... Oh, now that's taken me out of the video box. This is very strange, isn't it? Why is it doing that? There we go. That's better. Anyway, so I thought just to make sure that we get through these videos and I don't leave them passing by, and particularly as Faden missed out his chance to be a star yet again on the Vogue show, I thought we'll start with Barry and Faden as they present one of their amazing and magical tours. So let's go over to Barry and Faden and find out where are they today.
Hello everybody and Richard. Today we are in Newnham and Rotherwick.
Hang on a minute. I think I've got the wrong file in there because I think that was blown up. Oh, this is not going terribly well, is it? Do you know, I've been sneezing all day today. Sneezing. Sneeze, 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 sneeze. On my knees, I have been sneezing. And I think I have now got some hay fever and allergy tablets from the Morrisons. Actually, the lovely Julia happened to be going over there and we were chatting. I said, any chance you could just nip in there and grab some stuff? And she said, yeah, no problem. This morning I was sneezing and my nose was... I was clearing out a liandi... I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Liandi hedge. And the hedge has been cleared about 6 weeks ago. It's been sitting, drying out, ladies and gentlemen. And now Mr. Suggett says, yeah, there are some dangerous oils in the liandi. And I said, oh, right, okay. Well, I was shunting this about and all the little dust particles went everywhere. And I don't know whether that's just sort of exacerbated it. But there we are. It did. And I was sneezing and hooting and all of that. Now, let me just get into Saturday's show because I think I have put into the, the wrong one. So I'm going to try it again so that we get the right one. Hang on a minute. Where is it gone? Where are you? Oh, that's right, because you're in Fridays. Sorry, I've got a file system here that... what happened to my webcam? Oh, my webcam... For some reason, everything is falling apart in the studio. I think it's the stress and strain. What I need to do is just take everything apart and rebuild it. But there was no Haynes manual with this. There was no Haynes manual. So what was the last night? Wasn't Thursday, was it? It was Friday. Hang on, where's Friday gone? Friday, where are you? Up there. Friday, Wednesday, a view of Birmingham, Ernie. This is it. Hang on a minute. Open with. I just want to see what I can't play. Oh, well, I can play them, but they're likely to stagger if they're at 1080p. So what I have to do is those that come in at 1080p, this is just the encoding thing, and I apologise if it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, if they come in at 1920 by 1080, which Barry's does, I then have to just put them through a special software that puts them out at 720. Robert Croser's come in at also at some extraordinary high rate rather than coming in at 720. A number of them do, and I do try to squish them down. So I'm just going to see if this starts... well, that will start badly. I thought I had a handbrake version of it. I might just thrust it through handbrake and see if we can do this whilst we're live. And we'll keep talking. Maybe somebody would like to give us a phone call to cover the mess that I've got myself into. If I can get back to the studio, why can't I do that? There we are. There's that number. I'm going to just see if I can shove this. See if the lovely little computer is going to be able to squish this into the right thing so it doesn't. Because if I put a 1080 through, sometimes people have said, no, it staggers. So I don't want it to stagger. I want it to show because the effort has been made. So let's put this into the Saturday show and we'll call this Newham and what's it? Number 2. I'll make a number 2 version of it. Everybody likes a good thing to go completely and utterly haywire, don't they? If you want a bit of utterly haywire, imagine doing this for 24/7. Can you, or 24 hours? Can you imagine doing this for 24 hours? Well, Richard Suggett from the Veg Grower podcast, he is planning on his Veg Grower podcast live show on Friday coming, on the 5th of, not the 5th, I forget what date, I wrote it down. The 5th, is it the 5th? Oh, at 5 p.m, that's where I got on Friday, whatever Friday is. He is doing a 24-hour charity live stream. So I'm sure by 3 a.m, there'll be things going wrong all over the place. Me, 10 minutes into the show, not even that, 5 minutes into the show, and it's already going pear-shaped. Right, now, have I got that? I haven't got that. Let me just get that onto 720. There we go, start encoding. Right, that is actually preparing to encode, and hopefully that won't mar the effects of the show whilst it's doing that in the background. Ed Loud says they certainly... Are they Sertenzines, chlorophyll, tongue twister? I don't know what you're talking about. I can see you, Fiona, too, says Turbo Stream. Now, I don't know what you're on about there. Dennis Norden, yes, it'll be all right on the night. Isn't it funny how... Have you ever wondered... Dennis Norden, he used to be, used to do that show, didn't he, with his clipboard. And he'd have his... Isn't it strange? Always on the night when everything goes... I can't really do a Dennis Norden, but he had that sort of haunting lilt, didn't he? Come walk with me. My computer can handle 1080p for a while before the video and audio get out of sync. Oh, right. That must be an oldish machine. Days, if you're one of those people around the rugged rocks. Oh yes, around the rugged rocks, the ragged rascal ran. Of all the felt I've ever felt, I've never felt a piece of felt that felt like that felt. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper, which peck of pickled pepper did Peter Piper pick? He puck a pick a pecker, a pick a pack of poo. He pick a packer, and on the new. A heiser new. Are you buying some rhubarb? No, I don't think we are. 1080p on the GoPro, better than phones, but fiddly, says Robert Croser. Yes. It's after you've done it and you put it together and edited, you could just sort of put it down to 720. Always useful. This might be, how long is this going to take? It's taking about 12 minutes. So we've got to kill 12 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I daren't let this machine even attempt to play a video at the same time as doing all this. Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down the video. I'm not at all surprised. This might well be overloaded. What else have we got? What's going on, Richard? What's going on? What isn't going on? Somebody save me from this mess. Evening all, says Tracy Murphy. Very nice to see you, Tracy Murphy. I don't know whether any of you were watching earlier, but I do this reading in the daytime. I know some of you actually have to go to work and what have you. I've been reading Narrowboat. We've only got one more day. Tomorrow is the day we finish the book, which will be exciting, and then we move on to another book. So many books I've been looking at that we could read, but I think we're going to try this. I've tried reading some of this. This is even more complicated to read. Let's see who's calling on the old Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi to save me from myself. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Vobes. It's Matt here, Matt Holdsworth.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm all right. I thought you needed saving.
Oh, blimey, I do. Do you know, I've cocked up. I have cocked up big time, and I wanted to put this video on, but it's not been encoded down, and I forgot. And that's because I've been in the kitchen baking bread.
Very nice, very nice. You sending some round?
Yeah, I will send some round, actually. I will bake you some bread, actually.
Very
nice. I've decided I need a bigger tin, because what has happened is this particular loaf, I'll bring it in a later when I can escape when there's a video on, and it's actually starting to dribble down the side, so I need a bigger tin so it comes up.
Splendid. Sounds like a good plan. White or brown, or what is it?
It is a white one, this one. I gave it a good 15-minute knead. Oh, got to do that. Now, it sounds like you're out and about. Are you on the allotment?
I'm not at the moment. I'm escaping very briefly for a little 10-minute stroll.
Oh, nice.
And I thought, oh, I'll just listen to the Vogue show, see what's going on.
Yes, and I cocked it up.
And I thought, oh dear.
Oh dear. We can't leave him for a moment.
No, absolutely. I was on the allotment this morning. It's actually looking quite good for my allotment.
Oh, nice. What have you got growing? What have you got that's anticipating to be pulling up soon?
Oh, well, we got loads of rhubarb.
Oh, have you?
But that's dead easy.
Oh, is it?
Well, you plant rhubarb and then it doesn't really die.
I would like to plant rhubarb in my front garden. Do you think I could do that?
I think you've just about got enough space. If you get I don't know what it's called. I call it a rhubarb root, but it's probably like a rhubarb head or something. Someone will tell us. Then
you can't use a bit from the supermarket, then just shove it in the ground and it will take?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
No, I don't think you can do that. You need I think they split after a while, so maybe Mr. Suggett's got a spare half a dozen.
Oh, right, yeah, no, that would be nice. Nice bit of, because I love rhubarb, and
great.
Especially with crumble. I know, these are fattening foods and you shouldn't really eat them, but...
but they're homemade, so they're much better.
Yeah, much better. You can shove as much sugar in it as you like.
Exactly, and it's fine then. It doesn't have any calories because it's homemade.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a well-known fact.
So what do you do with your rhubarb?
I've had a couple of rhubarb crumbles. I've made rhubarb fool.
Rhubarb fool? What's that?
That's very nice. So that's like, this is not healthy. It's yogurt and double cream.
Yogurt, hang on. Yogurt and double cream.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a bit of sugar.
Yeah.
And a little bit of ginger.
Yeah.
And then the rhubarb's obviously been stewed. And you kind of mix it all up.
Wow.
And that's kind of it. And then it's like a really nice pudding.
Well, clearly it's not that bad for you because you're a bit of a beanpole. beanpole. So you don't put on weight.
Well, no, but that's probably because I keep walking to escape to leave the house for some decent exercise.
Yes, and clear the mind for a bit.
Exactly. What else have I got on the allotment?
I don't know.
Potatoes have gone in.
Oh yes. How long will they be?
Onions. Sorry.
How long will potatoes take to germinate?
These ones I think will be ready about July time.
Oh, okay. Hopefully we'll be out of the lockdown by then.
What I've got in there is going to take a while now.
Yeah, do you think there was sort of a lot of people thought, oh yeah, we'll grow our own food, watched Mr. Sugget dig for victory or plant for victory and all that, thinking that they're all going to manage in a week or the six weeks that we've had the lockdown. It's like we won't need to go to the supermarket. But actually,
it's amazing. If you there's a little hardware store down near where I am, stayed open, and he's sold out completely of all seeds.
Oh, did he?
And normally he's got stacks of seeds. He's got no compost. None of that, because everyone's like, oh, quick, I must grow stuff.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how many people actually stick to it.
Well, I just can't help feeling that by the time it's all grown, lockdown would have been and gone, a thing of the past, especially if I have anything to do with it. And, by the time my rhubarb comes up and I think, oh, yes, I can have rhubarb in lockdown, people will be swarming in the supermarkets and driving back on the cars. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because stuff does take time to grow, doesn't it? I mean, I know you can get salad leaves up, but that's not going to fill you up.
No, I mean we planted some lettuce leaves 2.5-3 weeks ago in our back garden, and we've been eating them already.
But not solely them.
No, not solely them.
No. But this is that's the thing. I know. But when people say, "Oh yes, I've planted my own," and I've been eating them, you just think. Yeah, but not solely that item. Those lettuce leaves have not sustained you all the way through the lockdown.
No. They, at the moment, if it was just lettuce and rhubarb,
yeah,
I would be really quite hungry.
Yeah, I imagine you would.
I found a stray beetroot from last year, which we roasted, and that was it.
Oh my God, a stray beetroot from last year. Was that?
Yeah, it was in the ground. We pulled it up. It was still there, looking beetrooty.
But was it as hard as nails? No,
it was fine. I only roasted it.
Wow.
A bit of roasted beetroot's lovely.
Oh, nice. All right, fair enough. That sounds good. So you've got lettuce leaves, you've got potatoes in, and you've got rhubarb.
And and we got strawberries.
Are they up? Are strawberries up?
They're flowering at the minute.
Oh, okay, yeah, they're flowering.
So they'll be ready sort of late June, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Just in time for Wimbledon. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
No, none of that either. And
I'm surprised actually that they didn't come up with a sort of digital Wimbledon that like a computer version of Wimbledon where you can be. What was that bloke who's up from Scotland who's supposed to be one of our best players?
Andy Murray.
Andy Murray, yeah, you could be Andy Murray, and the other opponent could be what's her name? Oolong Goolagon, whatever her name is, from the long distant past.
That one.
Yeah. So that you could have what is it they do? What is it? The Fab football team? Or...
FIFA.
No, not.
Do you mean like the FIFA football?
No, like a fantasy football. Fantasy football. That's
football,
it.
Yeah.
Fantasy. You know how cutting edge I am. You could do that with. I dare say it's already done.
Well, there's the professional footballs have been playing the computer game FIFA.
Yes.
Which is like a
professionals.
Yeah, so they've been so bored they're stuck at home and they've been doing their own league, which apparently you can stream on YouTube to watch.
Wouldn't it be great to Wayne Rooney on a computer playing fantasy? See how quick his thumbs and his reactions are over his feet. And
exactly.
That would be interesting because I bet they're not as good. And Boris Beckenham, or whatever his name is. David Beckenham. David Beckham. Yes, that's it. Dave, I'm rubbish at this. Don't tell me about celebs. I don't know who they are. But David Beckenham from... not from Beckenham. Oh, God, I'm losing it. But yeah, on the thumbs. But wouldn't it... I suppose you could put... I mean, if I was the BBC and they'd lost Wimbledon and that sort of thing, you could pretend that it was happening and just cut... You've got years of footage. So you could have... what's his name, Murray, playing Ted Perry, or whatever his name is.
Fred Perry
from and intercut between the two, and because you'd have all the footage, you could make up games, and people could, they would enjoy that because they wouldn't know the outcome. They could bet on it on a friendly betting. I've got all the ideas.
Didn't they do some kind of virtual Grand National this year?
They did, yeah. Apparently, yeah. They did. I think, yes, it was a computerized horse, wasn't it?
Something like that, but they had the same horses that were going to run in it, and they kind of programmed it so that they would do what they expected the horses to do.
Yes. Someone's just said that Come Walk With Me just said the BBC would be a lot better if Richard was running it. Well, I think there'd be quite a number of technical faults carrying on if I was anything to do with it. But I do come up with some rather silly ideas that would probably never be vetoed. No, wait a minute.
They've been doing some darts championships from their people's houses.
Oh my God! Really?
So the professional darts players have been playing at home, and then they've been able to do it because, of course, you can throw darts at a dartboard,
yes,
and then have someone else throw darts at a dartboard, and they're still competing against each other.
It'd be interesting to see what their homes are like, because I mean, if some of the darts players may not be as affluent as perhaps the football players are, and they've got the dartboard hung on the back of the kitchen door. I mean, it must be quite interesting.
Yeah, and then the child opens the door.
And the child opens the door, or the wife, and gets a dart straight between the eyes.
Well, exactly.
180! Bullseye! Yeah,
Whoops, literal bullseye.
That would be very, very silly. So we've got some colder weather coming. Are you looking forward to a little bit of light relief from the heat?
It's not been too bad. I was a bit worried we might get, thinking of the garden again, a bit of a frost. But I think we're going to be okay here. I hope.
Yes. What's it now? Here we go. You're a parent. You've got two very bright boys who have a lot of attention from you, but you've been full on with this. What has it been like? Honestly.
Josh yesterday said to me, I would give you my Xbox and any computer, he said, for me to go back to school.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. They miss their friends.
Yes. Yes.
Something chronic. I mean, they have been phoning them. Josh has been emailing one of them. He has to play like online games with a couple of them.
Yes.
But I have to say, because both of us are working full time.
Yes.
It's bloody hard work.
Yes.
They've been pretty good, but at the same time, Angie might be, because she's a social worker, so sometimes she does actually have to go and visit children still, even in this climate.
Yes.
And she also, she's been doing court appearances from
gosh.
home.
From home? Oh,
so
right.
The family courts are being run using Zoom or something.
Yes.
So she's had to do that a couple of times. So, and then I might get a call, and then the kids want us. But, know.
But they're old enough to respect the fact that you're working, presumably.
Yes. Yeah.
And you send them off to their little tent that you've got in the garden. Is that still up?
Yes. Yes, the tent is still up, and that's still running quite well, and they're in there. And the other thing is, because they're just so fed up with each other now.
Yes.
I bet you must remember this with your kids, I'm sure. I don't know if they were like it. But with two boys, 2 years apart from each other, they either really love each other, or they just beat seven shades out of each other.
Yes, yes. And it's not easy when that happens.
No,
because
no.
Trying to work, especially when it's his fault. No, it's his fault. No, it's his fault. It's like, oh well, I don't care whose fault it was. You're both as bad as each other. All the old cliches come spewing out of mouth.
It's just like that. One thing I would say is I thought to myself, by now I wouldn't have any work, but actually I have quite a lot of work.
I don't say keep, but they've moved you from your original role at the council?
No, they haven't.
They haven't.
I'm still planning.
So you're still planning, all right. So applications, are these old applications or new applications that people are putting in?
There's still stuff people are putting in. And I think what's happening is that people are putting in the application and they've already got them in the system, so they're an architect has already got all the stuff. So they've probably got a bit more to go.
Yes.
Putting it in. A couple of my colleagues have actually sort of volunteered to help with all the welfare calls and things like that. Because the councils are in charge, really, of phoning up anybody that's on on these sheltered lists and stuff to check they're okay.
Yes.
Which I can't do from home for obvious reasons.
No.
Because if I try to take that sort of a call at home,
it'd be awkward.
That can be quite difficult. So we have had some of their work as well, because obviously they're doing that.
Yeah.
But it's not got a lot quieter. 15-20% quieter tops.
Gosh.
So not a lot, and Angie's work obviously is still really busy, but they're very worried because obviously being a children's social worker, you don't know what's going on.
No.
And in lockdown, and most of the referrals, of course, come from schools. Schools are shut.
Yes.
And whilst the kids should be at school if they are vulnerable, if they are they should be at school. Most of them aren't.
So does she now have to sort of play detective a bit to find out if there are vulnerable kids about? Because it must be hard to get the tip off. Because if you're relying on teachers saying, "Oh, little Johnny is a little bit upset these days." Yeah.
There are still, but because there's so few people coming into houses at the moment.
Right.
Before you'd have health visitors.
Yeah.
Social workers, and they'd be in contact with the teachers, and even things like sports clubs and stuff like that.
Yes.
So they're worried that when it all does sort itself out, there's going to be this
a huge amount of work.
A huge amount of work, and social workers.
Yes.
There's not many of them.
No.
Well, not enough of them.
Gosh, yeah, no, I know. I mean, this is what I've been worrying about the whole lockdown thing. Is this that whilst we all understand all the reasons for having it, but it's there's a whole set of problems that we've never been in this situation before. And so things are going to come out of the woodwork that we couldn't possibly have anticipated, I imagine, that's gone on. And things that we were worried that have gone on and perhaps didn't give enough attention to. Yeah.
I think there's a whole set of problems after. I mean, even if we get a vaccine by Christmas, God, we've gone all serious, haven't we? Sorry.
We have, yeah.
That I think that there'll be stuff that will be being sorted out for a long time.
Yeah.
After all this, so
let's hope that the silver lining is that some of these things that haven't been given as much attention because of this lockdown have now become much higher up in the priority and will stay there.
Well, I think there is a good chance for things to change.
Yeah.
This is about as good a chance as you've got.
It's a real shake-up, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it could be. We all go back to how it was. Vaccine comes out or whatever. And in a year's time, we'll think, well, what was all that fuss about?
Yeah.
But, I just don't know.
No. Listen, my encode has finished.
Oh, splendid.
So I'm going to go and play this video, but it's been so nice to chat to you, Matt.
And you?
Because we haven't had a chance to go on the Green Sand Way for a long time.
I know.
Or catch up in person. We've chatted online briefly, but it's amazing how busy we've all been.
Well, I know, and the weather the last couple of months as well would have been lovely to walk through the Green Sand Way.
We could have finished it. We could have dedicated ourselves in these 7 weeks to have finished the Green Sand Way, all of it. But
we'd be in Ham Street by now.
Yeah,
right at the end.
Fit, and looking buff.
Well, I think I'm all right already, actually. But,
yeah. Brilliant. Well, enjoy the rest of your walk.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for ringing in.
No probs. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, no probs. Take care, Matt. All the best.
Cheers, Richard. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we are, the lovely Matthew Holdsworth there. Matt to his friends, calling in from somewhere in Reigate, escaping down the road. Lots of you chatting away in the background there. Thank you very much. Sorry I haven't acknowledged what you were saying. I will have a quick read. Whilst we have a look, ladies and gentlemen, it's been encoded. Newnham and Roderick from the travelling duo. Let me just get into the travelling... Thank you. Into the travelling duo box. And let's hope this now is put together correctly.
Hello everybody and Richard. Today we are in Newnham and Rotherwick. I would just like to show you this wildlife garden.
Yep, hello everybody. We just found this wildlife garden. I've never ever been here before.
We were first going to start off at the church, but then we found this, so then I just decided to start it off here.
Yeah, I can't believe I only live a few miles from here and I didn't know it was here.
Nice little wildlife garden.
Yeah, what flowers have we got here?
Something.
Bluebells.
St Nicholas's Church.
Another place that we've not ever been to before. I can't believe I didn't bother looking at this place.
Here's one of the sides of the church. We're now in Rotherwick and we're going to find a World War II bomb shelter.
Just thought I'd let you hear the cuckoo there. Or is it a pigeon? Let me know in the comments. Thank you.
We found the bomb shelter. Shall we take a look inside?
We will. We'll enter at the out part. Okay, we are inside. It might be a bit echoey. Coming in? Vaden's coming in, he's being brave. It's basically a long tunnel. It would be used by what is now a hotel and restaurant, but it was once a school, and all the children would run down after an air raid and hide in this shelter. There's a hornet in here, so we're going to get out quite quickly. We went in the out way, and we are
Going out the in way.
going out the in way. And that's it. Hello, I just thought I'd show you the Tilney Hall, the building I was talking about in the tunnel, which is now a posh restaurant and hotel. A mansion has basically existed here since 1561, although according to Frederick Tilney's tomb, the first of the Tilney Hall was not built until 1700. During the First World War, the hall was used as a hospital and park, and in about 1919 the hall and the estate was sold to Lord Rotherwick, a wealthy man in the area. It then became the headquarters of Lord Rotherwick's famous shipping fleet and line. In 1948 it became a school until 1985, and then closed and then reopened a year later to what it is now. Anyway, we'll get back to you for the final video. We're going to say goodbye for now.
Goodbye everybody, and Richard.
Bye bye.
There we go. How about that? I'm glad we managed to get that out. That's absolutely fantastic. Oh, what a lovely place. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't get it in yesterday's show. That was very remiss of me. We were getting on with the chats and what have you. Had the lovely Julia on. But there we go. We managed to do it. And, of course, Faden naturally becoming an amazing star. Looking forward to the next one. Now, I've just been browsing through the chat there, and Morton has just reminded me, Morton Lewis has reminded me of the WhatsApp thing. Yes, no, I hadn't really forgotten it, but I had sort of, thought about it. And I'm just looking on the PC here to say WhatsApp can be used right from your desktop without a browser. To install it on your computer, you need to access it from a website or what have you. So I need to just look into seeing if we can get that going. And then we can have that call on the show. I guess if not a video call, we could do an audio call. And I guess I can get WhatsApp on my mobile phone. I hadn't thought of it that way, but anyway, there we are. So there we go. But yes, sorry about the cock-ups this evening. What else was there? There was Julia's got the whip out, apparently. We've got some trolls giving some thumbs down. Thank you. If you're trolling the show, please keep doing the thumbs down, actually. I don't care, because the news from YouTube is that it's actually, what it does is it shows engagement, and actually it's a plus. People don't realise this. Luckily, they don't realise it. It's far worse if people watch and then don't do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's actually far worse for the algorithm. Worse is if they stop watching very quickly. So if you're trolling and you want to really show your sign of dissatisfaction, you want to stop watching as quickly as you can, because then YouTube see that as dissatisfaction. But if you watch the whole thing and you put a thumbs down, then YouTube are looking at and thinking, why would you watch something all the way through and put a thumbs down? Obviously, there's a certain enjoyment factor because you've watched it all the way through. So, there you are. That's fascinating. Lovely cuckoo. Yes, that's right. The cuckoo sound. I know somebody else. I think Mr. Kevin Hall said he'd heard a cuckoo the other day, and this video came in, and I thought, there was clearly a cuckoo. So that was fantastic. Beach Writer is here. Love it when one walks, comes across a little wildlife and a butterfly garden. Yeah, it is amazing, like Barry said, how many things are under your nose that you just don't know about and you've never seen, and then suddenly there you go. And I think the lockdown has been very good for all of that. So well done to you guys for all of that. That's ace that thumb downs are where it's at. Oh yes, don't worry about thumbs downs. I saw an article about it because people. This was about a year ago. That people were worried, YouTube, and this article was saying you should not be worried if you get thumbs downs, because it shows engagement, and the engagement gets registered. That shows that, because they don't care. You see, this is the way you've got to look at it. The YouTube, bless them, who give us the platform for free, in inverted commas, for advertising to us and pushing recommendations and what the whole thing about what is free. But they don't care that much. They care if you're being trolled by horrible, malicious people who are trying to sort of, knock on your door and stab you or shoot you or that sort of thing. But if people are just putting thumbs down and they're watching the video, they're still getting to see the advertisements. They're still getting to see the paid for ads and the recommendations. So from YouTube's point of view, they actually don't mind. And I can see the logic in it. It's just from my perspective as a YouTuber, it can seem, it's a thumbs down, they don't like the content. But generally, most of the people who don't like the content have actually viewed the content. So it sort of doesn't matter. So I encourage them. Give me as many thumbs down as you like. Thumbs down, because a thumbs down is a thumbs up in Australia. That's the way I look at it. Andy Kendrick says, great videos, Barry, on par with the Vobes. There we go. I've got to work harder. I've got to improve my content because I'm being chased by all these wonderful people who are going out finding these amazing and fascinating things. And why not? That's what it's all about. And if you've never made a video for the Vobes, give it a go. It's not as hard as it looks. And don't worry if you think it looks bad. Send it in if it's got anything to do with anything, really. It's not limited to landscape, heritage and nature. You can be talking about anything that's of interest to you. If it's 2 minutes or under, it's of interest to us. So there we go. Philip Hammond said, WhatsApp is so secure the Chinese government has banned it. Yeah, you see, they all want us to have Huawei, or however you say it. I wouldn't trust that with a barge pole. And I think the government would be silly to do anything with China at the moment. There's so many interesting conspiracy theories, rumours, maybe possible truths, half-truths, bits of truth. It's absolutely fascinating sitting on the edge watching all of this. I'm glad I'm not in the government trying to... You can imagine being in the government, can't you? They've got a funny old line to line. They must know stuff that we don't know. They must also want to put things in a light that's going to be good for them. Also in a light that makes what they're saying is plausible to the general public. But they know stuff that we don't know because of all the people on the inside. And then there's still part of the government who don't know enough. They don't know enough like what we know. You know, so not only do they know stuff we don't know, we know stuff that they don't know because they're not ordinary users. And I think that, you know, sometimes they're also blinkered and bigoted as well. So it must be very tricky steering the way forward. I was reading this morning in the sunshine, just for about half an hour, I was reading some of Churchill's diaries of the Second World War. And it was just before and just as he came into government. He was voted in, nobody wanted him, and he goes and becomes Prime Minister 80 years ago tomorrow. 80 years ago on the 10th of May, tomorrow. I was just reading up about it because I was interested. And he then has to form this government. And one of the things he does is he pares it right down to 5 principal characters. Don't ask me who they are because I can't remember, including himself, because he says they are going to be the ones who go and have their heads chopped off if it all gets pear-shaped. The rest down will be reporting to them, but they're the big decision makers. Another interesting thing that he did later on in July was to say all directives from him, any instruction from him, would come on paper, would be written on paper. Obviously, they didn't have the internet, so you couldn't say. He wanted to mitigate right away that nobody could say, "Oh, the Prime Minister says." It had to be. You had to have proof on paper, which I thought was very clever and very good thinking. He's. Churchill is a big hero of mine, Richard, says Morton Lewis. I mean, you know, some people don't like Churchill for various political reasons, but you cannot, and for personal reasons, because of, you know, maybe because of his drinking, or maybe, you know, some people claim that he was a bit racist. I mean, he was of his time, and he'd seen his career is. I mean, he's such a singular person. He was, and we just really never had another person who could have been... I mean, my God, we could have put the wrong person in at the wrong time. He'd seen so much. He'd been shot at. And he'd been responsible for basically designing tanks in the First World War and putting these... Anyway, and he wrote so prolifically. But what was the thing I was leading up to? And he put this cabinet together... It's such an interesting story, and I know so little about it, and there's so much to read. It's so difficult. But why did I get onto Churchill? You see, train of thought has now just gone. Churchill is on TV now. Our Darkest Hour, wonderful film. Oh right. Oh okay. Is that the modern film? I didn't. I think they mucked about with the modern film. Actually, if that's the one you're talking about, I did watch it, but the bit on the tube is completely... If that's the same one, the bit on the tube, he never took the tube journey. That didn't happen. Like a lot of films, it's all a bit truncated. Barbara Charles says, prisoner of war, Prime Minister, Nobel Prize winner, a remarkable life. Yeah, exactly. If only we had someone with Churchill's leadership and charisma now. I mean, the thing that makes me warm to Boris is that Churchill is one of his idols, and I wonder how much he has taken this crisis and thought, what would Churchill have done? And who knows how Churchill would have handled it. Churchill is my favourite American, says J.W. Harville. Yes, that's very true. This is Gary Oldman. Yes. Yes, with Gary Oldman. I thought it was okay, but I didn't overly like it. I thought it had some insights, but probably not enough. Anyway, so that's that. Should we go and have a look at another video whilst I don't want to The Wandering Ponderer, the Wandering Ponderer. Greetings from Ponder. Thank you. Sorry, sometimes the image over there on the screen behind me is a bit blurred. Ed Loud says it's rather unsettling when people judge folks from long, long ago by today's values. Oh, absolutely. I wonder how heroes from the past would judge us with the breakdown of families and society ills now. I think that's a very good point. You shouldn't judge people by today's standards, because you have to think of them what world and environment was the norm for them and what was considered the norm. In today's book, in the book reading I read, there was a word I couldn't say because it referenced somebody from another culture. Let me just leave it as vague as that. And LTC writes so beautifully, but he wrote this one word which I didn't dare say, and I had to bleep myself from saying it. But it was written in 1939, and you can't say, oh, you're racist because you use this term. It may have been a bit racist, but we're looking at it was not common parlance necessarily, but it was perfectly publishable back then, because there it is in the book. Connor's Dark Corner, the problem with films is that they add bits and lie about other bits, causing people, and certain people are evil and calling when they're not. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, films can distort the facts, obviously, for a plot, and I understand that. The trouble is that people will watch a film and think that is what happened, and then not bother to actually read the research around it. On the flip side, of course, people might watch the film and want to then go and find out more. So it is a double-edged sword. But I remember watching that film Dunkirk a couple of years ago, which was daft. It came out, last year? Was it last year or the year before? Should have come out this year. Should have come out about now. Would have been very appropriate, I think, if it had come out about now. Instead, we've been talking about VE Day, which is, to me, is 5 years hence. Whereas the Battle of Britain and the Dunkirk story is just about to happen. It's just about to happen, and so that film should have came out now. But the film was rubbish, in my humble opinion. It just made a mockery of the scale, especially as they were using CG. Hello to the caller calling the Vobes.
Hello, Richard. It's Dave here. How are you?
Hello, Dave. Dave Ford from jolly old Dorset.
Yeah.
How are you?
Fine, yeah. Logan down by my side. And now I was going to ask you a question.
Yes, fire away.
Yeah, tomorrow night with Boris, what do you think he's going to come up with, really particularly about exercising, which is the important thing for both of us, really, isn't it?
Well, I think that I think the Welsh have basically stolen his thunder, which he must be spitting, because the Welsh do seem to be they've done this. Is the second time I'm aware that they've done this in the last year or so with something. In as much as saying that they're lifting, you can basically exercise as much as you like.
So does that mean you can go as far as you like, do you think?
I think it depends if you're driving. I think they don't want people to be driving necessarily to the Peak District and camping out and doing all that. I think that's probably still a bit of a no-no.
Because it has been, I really have been doing something very similar to you in as far as keeping local. Last 4 videos that I've done haven't come out yet. 2 of them have been, technically I could have walked there, and the other 2, you'll probably look at a 10 minutes and 15 minutes drive. But there's still that aspect of, am I doing something naughty? I'm doing it very early in the morning as well, and trying to be a bit inconspicuous about it. It'd be just nice if it could be just raised up a notch, as it were.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be something, because I think what they have realised is their simple message had been taken too strictly. People were staying at home and weren't going to hospital when they needed to go to hospital, and so the strength of the message has been too strong.
So one of the problems we've had here on the New Forest, you've had, the government guidelines, which is great, but things like New Forest National Park and the Forestry Commission have made up their own rules, and they just went ahead and closed every car park that they could with a barrier. And of course, that meant everyone was then having to park on verges, and they were getting in the way of gates and everything, causing problems. And yet, that's what I find quite frustrating about it. So I'm kind of hoping, because like yourself, you're keeping away from other people. And okay, perhaps at the car parks you're going to be close, but you're going to be a lot less closer than going to supermarkets and things.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, people going out into the countryside are going to be certainly going to keep to themselves. I mean, this is the argument that I've always had is if you go back to thinking of what was life before lockdown, and life before lockdown and before coronavirus was ever a thing, if you saw somebody coughing and spluttering in the street, you're probably not going to get within 6 feet of them anyway.
It's true, yeah.
I mean, I think that common sense would say, oh, he's got a cold, I'm not going to go there. I think it's the problem is when people are working together in close proximity, where the bloke opposite you sits down at his computer and he says, "Oh, sorry about that, I've got a streaming cold today." Well, in real life, you sort of go, "Oh, yeah, I expect I'll get it now, aren't I? Oh well, it doesn't matter because it's you get a cold and you get over it." I think so. Those environments, I can absolutely understand that, but you go right, okay, you've got to do something about that. But outside, especially as they've pretty much confirmed that sunlight is now very good for you. You need vitamin D as an immune. It builds up your immune system, which is why they're now saying that people, the black and ethnic people have been hit worse with the COVID because of the pigment of their skin. They need more vitamin D because they don't get it enough.
Oh, is that what it was?
Well, that's what I was listening to a thing on Radio 4, and that was one of the things I can't say it's 100%, but that's one of the things they're putting forward.
But it's been so frustrating because we'd had months and months of rubbish light and wind and rain, and now suddenly we've got these perfect conditions. You're out there sort of every day almost, but... Anyway, I got that rant off my chest. The other thing I was going to ask you, I didn't watch your show last night. Your little area, did you do anything for the VE Day with tea and cake and what have you at 4 or not?
No, I didn't do anything. You see, in my mind, it's we haven't celebrated anything else of the Second World War yet, so why are we doing the end of it so early?
I mean, we had a quite bizarre, because we live in a little cul-de-sac, 6 houses, and all 6 couples were out there at 4 o'clock with their chairs and table and dressed up. It's the first time I'd spoken to 2 of the people in the 16 years that I've been here. It was quite bizarre.
Well, I mean, we did have Ernie. Ernie sent some footage of him sitting outside, and he was dressed in his RAF. So we did play that in. I mean, we did talk about it briefly, but I didn't actually do anything.
But you're right. I can't ever remember VE Day, unless I missed it, being a really big thing in the past before. I suppose it was just because it was 75, was it, I suppose? Well,
see, the thing is, we've just spent, it ended last year, didn't it? We've had 5 years of talking about the First World War 100 years ago. And that's been, shoved down our throats, 100 years of which is fair enough, 100 years, it's worth celebrating, absolutely, no problem with that. But then I thought, okay, so now this year, in my mind and in my head, I'm celebrating or remembering, perhaps celebrating is not the right word, but remembering 80 years of the start of the First World War last year. This year, the Battle of, Dunkirk, Battle of Britain, the Blitz, and then, you get to the end, but 75 years, it's like suddenly out of the blue. Oh, by the way, it's 75 years since VEJ. Oh, really? Oh, okay, fine.
Of course, you're into the Battle of Britain, aren't you?
Well, I mean, the Battle of Britain is such an important... It's so important to remember the battle or to think about, because since the Norman invasion, we've never, apart from, and you could say this is, people coming in through migration, we've never been... You've
There's
never.
a fair few Poles in Bognor at the moment.
There you go. But no, since the Norman invasion, which is what 1,000 years ago, we've not been invaded, and up until then, the battles that happened, we sent our jolly troops off, either the militiamen or standard armies or conscripted people, to the battleground, and we got the news back of who won and who didn't win. And the First World War, they all went off. The Second World War was pivotably different. It was so different because suddenly the enemy could bomb civilians. You never had that before. And so anybody living in the southeast and anywhere in England, look at Coventry and Birmingham and these cities, we were on the front line. It wasn't just we would send people out to be to battle for us. Now we were on the front line. Civilians going about their ordinary business who didn't want to have anything to do with the war could still be bombed. And that's why I think it is so important that we remember that, because that is the very first time, and it changed everything.
Oh, well, we're sure. Anyway, we'll put
Never mind, he says. Never mind. It'll be nice on Monday.
Yeah. We'll meet again and all that.
Well, there we are. I mean, there we are. We're using these Second World War things. We'll meet again, and all this sort of nonsense. And the question is, some of us won't do. Those poor sods who've on the ventilators, which are going to be turned off, they won't be meeting again.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. There we go. I liked Steve Pilford, and he saw on Facebook. He put a picture of himself up, obviously celebrating on V-Day with "We'll eat again" on there. That was brilliant.
We'll eat again. Let's, yeah. Anyway, so just before you go, what is the latest video that we can see from Dave and Logan?
Well, next week I've got one coming out it's in Hampshire, on Martin Down. I've got a couple in Hampshire, just a little bit different, and then back on the New Forest. But actually we had some brilliant sunshine sort of 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, certainly different. So yeah, just type in Dave Ford New Forest and you'll come them up. But and I think I can't remember, you did get mentioned in one. Yeah, I gave you a mention in the Hay Shot one that went out last week.
Lovely.
We'd done the video nearly 18 months, 2 years ago.
I will look forward for the swells of people who will have watched it and come and look at my nonsense. Lovely to talk to you, Dave.
All right, mate. Cheers.
All the best. Thanks for ringing in. There we are, Dave Ford there. Very nice, and that got us in a slightly heated mood. And quite right, Robin Marshall. V-Day was not exactly insignificant, and of course I'm not belittling those events. VE Day and VJ Day are not belittling any of those at all, because but it's just, to me it was just very odd. We spent all this time with in the culture, in the media, anywhere in England you would go around during the last 5 years, there would be these cutouts of the fallen soldier. In graveyards, in art centres, in outside theatres, all over the place. And the poppies were everywhere, and all of that. And so we'd marked it almost exactly year by year by year for the duration. So then we come up to marking the Second World War, and all of a sudden we're marking the end of it, which just to me just seemed baffling. I suppose baffling that we hadn't marked what now is 80 years ago. Which, 80 is a rounder number than 75. 75 just seems a very obscure number. I know the argument is that the veterans may not be around in another 5 years, but of course that's the case every single year. But anyway, that is my humble opinion. And of course you are absolutely entitled to shout it down and have your own. Why wouldn't you? Let's have a look in the video box. And we're going to see what Robert Croser has been up to. Mr. Croser, where have you been? And what can you see?
Hello, Vobonauts. See, I'm very real. Where am I today? Well, I'm in Armathwaite. I put a few photographs of my last visit here back in the spring, and now I'm back in high summer. You can see for yourself. There we go. We're going over the bridge here that leads from one part of Armathwaite to the other. And yes, that's my partner, my lovely Maris there. And that is my son skipping ahead, bless him. This is a very old bridge. I think it was built in the 18th century. And we're going over the River Eden. Just look at this. The river is very low today. Look how low it is. You can actually, there's a pied wagtail down there, a couple of pied wagtails, and mallards upstream there. That's down towards Carlisle. Isn't it beautiful, eh? Gorgeous.
Harry said it's clean.
Oh well, Harry would.
It's dirty.
It's not dirty, it's very clean. Right, crossing over. And that building on the right there, that is Armathwaite Castle. Home of the Musgraves. Tilbury. To protect against the border reivers. I'm one of them, was. Just go down. Oh, bit of a drop there. There we go. Lost cyclist, never mind. Here we go to the start of the walk and the end of part 1. Part 2 is coming up soon. Part 2 will be following shortly because I know he only likes 3 minute bite-sized portions. I don't know. Anyhow, turn round, quick look back at the river, over the bridge. It's Maris and a lost cyclist. Oh dear, Richard is wearing spandex, can't have that now. Look on the village there, on the bridge, and that's enough for now. See you all later. Part 2's coming up.
There we go. How about that? The inimitable Robert Croser out there. Beautiful looking bridge, beautiful looking river, beautiful colours. We've been so lucky. Thank you so much, Robert, for sending that in. I will look for the other 2 videos that you have sent. I hope I got them in the right order. I don't know if there is a right order, but anyway, thank you very much for that. Lots going on in the chat room, lots of chats about COVID or not COVID. I have to agree with Mark about the amount of coverage. I mean, I've happened to turn the radio on briefly, and there was a comedy show on, and somebody said, bring back Brexit. Let's talk about Brexit. I never thought I would want to talk about Brexit because everything is all about COVID, as if that is the only thing going on. And clearly other things are happening in the world. But and so, as Mark says, it has turned people into nervous wrecks, and I completely agree with you. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world up there. Can't wait to get back up into your neck of the woods, Robert, and also over into Northumberland. I think I'd like to do some nice long walks in Northumberland. That does look very appealing as well. So there's so much to see, and I know that the lovely Julia has a list of places up there that she's keen to go and see. So that's great. Andy Kendrick says it was great yesterday. People in their gardens playing music, buntings out, having the afternoon tea, stronger beverages. Our community was one. It was nice in the current climate. I have to say there was absolutely bugger all in my street. It's so busy. We've got roads to the hospital, roads to the supermarkets, the same road. You know, it's like, you know, a trunk road. We talked about trunk calls the other day. So not much really going on. You do get occasionally opposite where I am some shrieks and arguments coming from people who live in the basement flats. You never quite know what goes on in basement flats, but so unfortunately, yes, not much of that. But there we go. No, Northumberland is equally nice, absolutely. So looking forward to doing that. Morton Lewis says, "Hast thou been to Morpeth? My wife came from there." Morpeth, I think we did go to round that way, didn't we? When we were up with you, Robert? Can't remember now. Morpeth, very nice around there. Anything but COVID. I'd rather have teeth pulled out with meds at this point, says J.W. Harville. I fear that there will be more of this going on, and in small doses I can take it because it is useful to know what's going on. I do think that the fact that Neil Ferguson has been removed is probably a good thing. He who came up with loads of predictions, and each one of his predictions never seemed to actually work, and still the government listened to him. And finally, when his lover decided to turn up, then he was removed. So I think that's probably a good thing. I wanted to show you this. This is my latest. Look at it. It's more like a mushroom than a loaf. You can see how it's sort of... I need a bigger tin. A taller tin. I need a taller tin for it to fit in. See what I did there? Taller tin for it to fit in. Yeah, lovely. It's just come out the oven. I need to have a slice of that, really. So let's... time is ticking, and I was only going to do an hour tonight, but we want to get through the videos as much as we can. So let's have a look. We'll get into another video, then I'll open up the lines again. If I can find out how to get back into the video thing. Right, so we've done Barry, we've done Mr. Croser. Wesley Morgan. Wesley Morgan is... now, do you remember Wesley Morgan sent in some songs a while ago? Very nice chap. Sent in that lovely one with that bald bloke running around. Songs from Worthing. It was such a hit. It was. I'm surprised it didn't make #1, to be honest with you, Wesley. Well, he's been out with his camera doing a nice little stroll, taken Daisy with him. And this is what he had to investigate and look upon.
Hello Richard, Wesley here. Just wanted to show you that sometimes a small stream can develop into a lovely archery. I'm in the Kentish Downland at the moment, Downt Valley. Just wanted to show you the sublime textures and colours, lights and shades. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, catch you in a minute. Hello again. Just seen this friend. Hello there. Ignorance is bliss, as they would say. Yes, well, I've just been walking up this pathway and found this is quite unfortunate, isn't it? Just look inside. Oh yes, a nice surprise. Modern living. Could do with some clarification here, but I believe these might be hops. Now, I am a very big fan of a nice cold pint of ale, Kentish ale. And you can see, this is rather nice. Yes, they must be. Yes. You can see, I just zoom in. Hail to the ale. Okay.
Right.
Yes, Daisy. Daisy's here with me as well. Beautiful valley. Quite inspiring for songwriting and creativity. wonderful architecture, hung tiles. A to be connected to the land. Okay, back to the studio.
That came to an abrupt end then. I was just eating a bit of my loaf. I thought I'd just have a quiet munch because I was getting a bit peckish. Sorry about that. Well done. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie? Leslie? Who's Leslie? Eric? Can you change that? It's a W, not a L. Wesley. Thank you, Wesley. Absolutely marvellous. Thought we were going to get a little view then of Daisy as you were sort of shunting the camera around, but clearly she went, oh, no, don't show me. Looking forward to one of your songs, if you managed to do one of those. They were terrific. Lovely to see all that, and that lovely... Was that a stickleback? Was that a stickleback, or is that bigger than that? Was that a baby trout? Or a mackerel? I don't know, or is it a beam? Is it a beam? Is a beam a fish? A beaming fish? Beaming great fish. Anyway, phone line is open, 0793 4746 You can call me now if you so wish. I'm just having absolutely lovely to have a slice of bread just after it's been, come out the oven, stood for 20 minutes or so, and have it really fresh. Oh, so delicious. Spiffing video, says Days of Yore. That's lovely. Had a nice chili con carne this evening. But even so, it's funny. If ever I have a rice dish, I always feel hungry about an hour later. Do you ever get that with a rice dish? I always think rice never quite fills me up. Bream. Oh, bream. And no, it wasn't. It was possibly a young trout. Oh, it was a trout. Oh, there we are. I'm sure it wasn't. I wasn't sure what fish it was. It was nice tiny little fish, wasn't it? Need carbs. Yes, need carbs. Well, I was kneading bread earlier, he says, to get the joke in. You can eat 3 hours. You can eat in 3 hours when the show's over. 3 hours? Goodness sake. Can't wait that long. I'm using up all my energy waffling all this nonsense. This is absolutely delicious. I'm so sorry to be eating it whilst I'm doing that. Same with Chinese. Yeah, feel hungry 20 minutes afterwards. It's a true thing. It's not just me then. Yeah, what meals do you eat that you just feel, wait a minute, have I been filled up? And when do you know when you're full up? Do you have to actually sort of go, well, I'm going to stop now because I am full up? Or are you just somebody who just has to keep eating until everything is actually gone? Breakfast. You're on the bread line, says Josephine. That's very true. I am on the bread line somewhat. Very nice. Nice disc. Throw a curry straight down the bog. Cut out the middleman, says Morton Lewis. Well, I don't make my curries too hot, but I do like my chilli very hot. Hello, caller. Welcome to the Vobes Show.
Hello, it's Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
I would love a big bowl of your chili right now.
Well, I'd love to be able to get over to you and bring it to you. It's quite hot. I've got some of that sauce that you sent in there. Now, hang on. You did tell me how to pronounce it, and I cannot remember.
Tapatio.
Tapatio.
That's right.
So
I have to ask, if the Prime Minister turns you loose tomorrow night, what's the first thing you're going to do?
If he turns me loose? Well, obviously, apart from getting on a plane and flying out to see you, Jeff, because I want to have a go driving your lorry. Even if it's only 100 yards. I've never driven anything big. And it would be amazing to sit there and just have a little bit of video of me manage, on an empty runway somewhere where I can do no trouble. Obviously, that would be hilarious.
We just go to Nevada, and you could drive across Nevada the whole way.
Not many people on the roads then in Nevada, I take it.
No, it's when you leave Wendover all the way to Reno, it's pretty sparse.
Is it? Oh, right. Well, there we are. It would be good. I'd love to come back over to America and maybe, sleep in the back of your wagon. Hitch a ride.
There's room. It would be fun. So, are you going to go back to the Romney Marshes? What's first on your list? You still owe me a video on the listening ears.
Oh, yes, I do. We did investigate this listening ears thing. You need special permission to get near them because they're on the ones on Dungeness. But I do believe there's another set somewhere that you can go to, but I don't think they're as impressive. I can't remember now if they were on the bird sanctuary or something, but you needed to get permission. And I can't remember who I spoke to. I spoke to Nigel Sadler, actually. Is Nigel Sadler out there? I haven't seen his name, but he might be watching on the rebound, or he might be watching without discussing it. But I did have a chat with Nigel, and I think the conclusion was it wasn't as easy as it thought. But I will have another go at that. But I know that you would like some old castle, and I'm determined to get the drone up so I can find a castle. Now I just need to find one that I can fly the drone over. I know I could go back to Odium with Barry. Maybe I should have to talk to Barry. Do you know of any nice old castles in your neck of the woods that we could, or some nice old ruined stately house or somewhere where we can go and fly the drone and get some lovely shots to yes, it's on the bird sanctuary, says Ed Loud. Oh yes, there we are. I know an old castle in the Romney Marshes. There we go. I'm going to get Ed Loud, he's a baldy, and me, and we'll go down to the Romney Marshes. That would be great to do the drone as well. And there's an old castle on the Romney Marshes. How about that, Jeff?
That would be quite wonderful. Is that first on your list after you get let loose?
Well, I don't know really what is first. I will be like, oh, I can go anywhere. I can go anywhere again. Where shall I go? Where shall I go? I'll be like, you see, the thing is, it would be like one of those things. It's like going into a sweet shop and you can have any sweet you like. When you're restricted, you can only have that one or that one. It's an easy decision. But when you can go, oh, we could go to the castles up in Shropshire. They've got a number of castles up there. Or you could go to, as is the Romney Marshes, or go to Northumberland, or the craggy hills of or mountains of Wales, or over in Scotland. There's so many, or the Lake District. And the thing is, I think I've just got to negotiate this right, because there might be a mad rush from everybody wanting to go at the same time to the places. So I don't want to go and then suddenly find the world and his brother has turned up because they've all been let loose out of the traps like greyhounds.
I think the only castle here in the States that I've ever been to, other than the one at Disneyland, is...
That's not a castle!
Do you remember the picture I sent you of the Goodnoe Hills on the Oregon-Washington border? Because I said that it was the first wind-generating farm.
Oh, yes.
And I said I'm going to send you this picture because I know how much you hate the wind turbines. Yes. Right out of that picture, about 800 yards, there's a castle on the hill. But I think we stole it from you guys.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me.
I'm pretty sure the guy brought it over and rebuilt it, yeah.
Yeah, well, I told you about the foam henge, didn't I?
Foam henge?
Foam henge. Oh, Julia's saying, on the screen! On the screen! It's a private joke. Yeah, when I was in America, and I can't remember what part of America, we were driving through somewhere, and on a map we saw this thing called foam henge. And it's a version of Stonehenge, but about a fifth smaller. So there was what we would call polystyrene, and I suppose you call it styrofoam.
Yes.
And it had a wire inside holding it up, and it was a replica of Stonehenge made out of polystyrene. And I guess the stones were about 7 foot tall, with the lintel stones and the two uprights and the little circle of it. And it was just it was absolutely, there was a car park, and you walk down this car park and I suppose the perspective worked quite well, because you saw this, what looked like ruined stones, like Stonehenge, in the middle of nowhere, except there was no A303, is it the A30 or the A303, going through it. And you walk up to it, and of course, as you get closer and closer, it's getting smaller and smaller until actually it's actually quite titchy. And you walk, and it was quite shabby, because obviously polystyrene, chips off, and while it had been painted in grey, bits of it had come off, and you could see what it was made of. But it was, we just thought, I was with a friend, and we just thought it was so laughable that somebody had made a replica of Stonehenge out of styrofoam. Hence, foam-henge.
There's a replica of Stonehenge outside of Goldendale, Washington, but then again, I think we stole the stones from you guys.
Oh, so what, made out of real stones?
Yeah, I think they got them from the same area that the original Stonehenge stones were from. And they, it's right outside of Goldendale, Washington. No, that's not the real thing. I want to come over and see the real thing.
Oh, you've got it. Yeah, no, absolutely. As Beach Writer says, we in the US have no real castles anywhere. I mean, I went to the Alamo, down there in Texas, and that was.
Did you do the Riverwalk?
No, didn't do the Riverwalk. Is that
it's right across the street. Oh, it's well worth seeing.
We went into this what looked to us as a stone barn, and outside it was a tourist trap. It was heaving with people, and there were these guys outside going, "Okay, if you go into the Alamo there, it's a very important building, piece of history, da 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 da." And saying, you've got to respect the building. A lot of reverence as you go through this. Is our oldest building. No photos, no talking. We want you to respect this building. So we got in the line. And of course, mostly it was Americans from different parts of America in their shorts and, with their big, big cups of Starbucks and Costco and coffee and whatever. And soon as we got in there, people are taking pictures and they're talking and shouting and, "Hey, get over here, take a picture of this." It's like, I thought there was supposed to be a reverence of building. There was me and my mate. We put our cameras away and we'd gone in there very respectfully, and it was a madhouse. And there was nothing in there. It was just like a stone barn where the so-called shootouts had gone. And then outside there, people with lassos and people, shooting fake guns, and the whole thing was Disney, really.
I promise when I come over, I won't cause bedlam in a really old castle. I promise.
If you come over, I will take you to some nice old castles that are genuine, that aren't necessarily the best and well-known that you have to pay to go in. I mean, we can go to some of them. Arundel is quite nice to go in and have a look at, go into the keep, into the older bit, and go down into the proper dungeon and the jail and all of that. But there's plenty of places, especially some of these old abbeys, that you can just go and walk around. The one in Leeds that Lisa in Leeds was telling us about sounded absolutely amazing. That's where I would love to take the drone to, up in I can't remember what it was called now, but plenty of these old monasteries and things which are they're amazing. And some of the castles are equally good. So but where to go first of all? Anywhere out of Worthing. Anywhere out of I love where I live, but please, I'd like to go 20 miles up the road. At least.
I can only imagine. Well, that was my question. If you had immediate plans for if you're turned loose.
Well, I certainly I'm going to sort of build up gently, and and I know Kevin knows that something arrived today, and I'm not going to say what. That I have a lot of thanks to give to you, which I shall hopefully take out tomorrow, although it's threatening rain. So I may not take it out tomorrow if it's going to rain. I don't want to get it wet so early on. But you know what I'm talking about. But we'll leave that there for the moment. And the other thing is, if you come over to Blighty, I'm going to bake you some bread on my Essie.
How wonderful would that be? And you know, Mr. Suggett has promised me a pot of homemade potato soup.
Well, there we are. You will be very well looked after. If you
How wonderful will that be?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The only thing is I can't offer you anywhere to sleep unless you like sleeping on the floor, because in my little hum, I think you will be quite shocked when you turn up at my house. It'll be much smaller than you think it is.
Well, not all Americans have huge houses. The last house I built from scratch was only 728 square feet, so...
I'm trying to work out what 728 square feet. That sounds quite big.
No, it's quite small.
How many bedrooms did that have?
It had two. One was like 12 by 10, and the other one was like 8 by 10.
Yeah, the 8 by 10 is the one I'm in at the moment, because I'm in the back room. Billy and Sharifa, my son and his girlfriend, have the master bedroom of my little terrace house. I'm just shoved in the back. Don't worry about it. I pay the bills, but I'm shoved in the back. You know how it is when you've got kids. You built your house from scratch. That is a story that I want to follow up on another occasion. You've had such an interesting life, Jeff, from what you've told me. So we will have...
Yeah, it has been an interesting life, I guess.
Yes, and when you come over, we want you on the show, and we want to spend some time having a few beers and chatting about all your exciting things. You're an amazing man.
Well, I thank you for answering my question. I was just curious if you... I think I just want to go home. If they lifted the restrictions today, the earliest I could go home would be June 15th. So.
Oh, right. So another month.
Yep, at least.
At least. Oh, blimey.
Well, I hope everybody...
Before you go, you've got to tell us, what have you got in the back of the lorry today, the truck?
I don't have a back.
Oh, just a cabin?
I went to Menards, which is here in the States, is a home improvement center, and everybody is doing home improvements right now, and it was total, you talk about bedlam.
Yeah.
It was total bedlam, and they had no empty trailer for me, so I just left. So now I'm on my way to Des Moines to pick up a preloaded trailer of farm chemicals going to Chicago.
Farm chemicals. Oh, good old farm chemicals. They're keeping you on the road.
Yeah. And this mysterious thing that we were discussing a few minutes ago.
Yes.
You can partially thank Mr. Trump for that.
Oh, really?
Sure. Yeah, I got my stimulus.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Trump. Oh, that's very good.
Anyway, I hope everybody stays safe, and I will talk to everybody later.
You look after yourself, Jeff.
Thank you. You too.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we are. The wonderful Jeff Kellison, who you may not quite realise actually how generous he has been. He has been incredibly generous on a number of things. Some things that we just don't mention because, we just don't mention them. And other ways that you know about. But he is the fairy godfather of this channel and all that I do. And without, I have to say, without Jeff, we wouldn't be doing a lot of what we're doing. So you may just see this bald bloke coming on your screen, but there's things that go on behind the scenes that even doesn't get mentioned in my behind the scenes podcast, The Naked Englishman, because they're just not for public knowledge, I suppose. But Jeff is one of those good guys, one of those very rare good guys that you come across. So that's why we spend a little extra time being nice to him. Anyway, how are we doing on the time? It's 9:29. Again, we have more videos to play in. What a shame. Gonna have to push them over because it's getting to 9:30. It's so great though to get the phone calls and have the conversations as well as the videos. I appreciate all of that. And I know sometimes we get into heated conversations and I have my opinion and you have your opinion and we may disagree or we may argue on the various things, but we're all friends here. We can say what we like and we don't get upset even if our opinions differ. And that is what I think makes it a nice, friendly place, is that we are able to say what the other person disagrees with and we're not going to get shouted at. And that's what it's about. So sorry if I haven't got around to your videos. Thank you so much for sending them in, but they'll go into tomorrow's show. And Adrian, I know you were keen to get your views of Birmingham seen. Interesting views of Birmingham as well. At the library is worth waiting to look at for sure, but we will do that. Ed Loud says, I think it's great when you voice your opinion and love it when you get your rants in your pants. Thank you very much. John Berger, Jeff, let me know when you're in Harrisburg. Yes, absolutely. You see, this is a great thing, is that people can make friends as well. That's really good. Opinions are too opinionated, says Come Walk With Me. Oh, yes. Thanks, everyone, for your videos tonight. And thanks for Julia monitoring and Richard for hosting and for the lovely Judith out there as well. Andy Kendrick says, I need to ask a question about bread making tomorrow. Please do ask your question. I am not an expert. Mark Donny McLeod is more of an expert, and Ed Loud knows a lot about it too. However, if I can be the person who sort of, the one that you go through to, there's a word, isn't there? The one that I can't think of the word. Michael Angel, this is America. We do strange things. I could fill hours of video telling you what I've seen, says Jeff. And hopefully when Jeff comes over, we will have an amazing show and we'll make some videos together, because he's got some history to talk about, I know, which will surprise everybody. Facilitator, thank you very much, Glastonbury. And Gabriel. And I think we didn't get to see yours either, did we, Gabriel? I can't remember now. There's so many good things. And as Julia says, I love this community. You are all awesome. It is that she's taken the words out of my mouth, really. I am just really the anchor of this, but you are what make the community work. It's not me. It's not what I do. It's you. Without you, I am nothing, and the show is nothing. So thank you for all being here. And on that note, I'm going to cut myself another slice of bread and make myself a cup of tea and try and answer some emails, because people have been sending me emails and I haven't answered them, and I need to, so much to do. So thank you for watching. Take care, one and all. It's been absolutely great. See you tomorrow, reading at 2 o'clock for the last chapters of Narrowboat and the Vobes Show in the evening. Till then, take care, and bye-bye to everyone. You know what I mean. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye. Bread, it gets in your head. Bread, well, it gets into your head via your mouth, of course, when you've buttered it and put some jam on it and stuff. It's lovely. Bread, it gets in your head. Please don't then.